community, and things haven't gone exactly according to Hoyle so far as the football team is concerned. This crowd wants more from the basketball team, and why shouldn't they? This team is picked in the preseason polls to finish number 2 in the land. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, and a pleasure to share these microphones with Dick Vitale. And Dick, should be a great ball game tonight. LSU, number 2, playing before the home folk, coming off a big win. But somehow, I think they're going to get a test from Kansas.
Well, when you look at Kansas, you're looking at a lot of experience. You look at LSU, you see a very inexperienced basketball team. But when you speak about LSU, it starts in the backcourt, Barry.
It really does. You use superlatives a lot, I guess, when you talk about college athletes these days. But I think in the case of Chris Jackson, the superlatives are well-deserved.
There are a lot of great guards in America. You talk about Ramil Robinson, Kendall Gill, Gary Payton from Oregon State. But this kid is in a class by himself. He's flat out unstoppable. He's an explosive offensive player. He's got great range as a shooter. He has tremendous control of his dribble moves, and he's just an electrifying performer.
And I think it's fair to say that he did it all last year for LSU. They won 20 ball games, and he had to carry all the load. This year, though, he doesn't have to do it all, even though he probably will. He gets a lot of help from his friends, and his friends are big.
Well, you talk about a lot of beef. When you talk about his friends, you got 2 7-footers, the Twin Towers. I call them the Duncan Dynamos. Shaquille, I'm for real, O'Neal, and Stanley Roberts. And they have over 570 pounds. I don't know who's going to feed these 2 guys, but I know one thing. If I'm Chris Jackson, I'm going to love to have them on my side, because that means they're going to get me the rock.
Well, if I can use one of your phrases, this is a primetime team, LSU. But Kansas, on the other hand, this is a team, they play in Lawrence, Kansas. They're kind of invisible except in that state, and they're picked no better than 5th in their league, and yet you have an idea they might be able to sneak up on people. They already have.
They really have an outstanding, experienced trio. 3 guys that know how to win. You talk about 3 guys that are wearing a championship ring, and it starts with Kevin Pritchard. Pritchard's a steady guard, a very consistent guard. He can shoot the basketball, he passes it well, and he's a fierce competitor. He played on a national championship team under Larry Brown. Jeff Gellner, his running mate, is an outstanding defensive player, and he's also got a championship ring. But now they have a new guy who has a championship ring, and Barry, he can play too.
He got his championship ring for somebody else. Now he's here in Kansas. He sat last year, and Rick Calloway should contribute.
Well, you talk about Rick Calloway. He played for the General Robert Montgomery Knight. And going from Knight to Roy Williams is like going from Don Rickles, listening to his vocabulary, and Pat Sajak. And I'll let you decide which one, Williams or Knight, is Rickles.
I thought it was interesting, though, that Roy Williams, when we talked to him today, said last year we just played for the love of the game. This year we're playing to prove something to people, because the experts, so-called, picked his team no better than 5th in the Big 8 Conference.
Well, you look at the Big 8 Conference, to me, it's one of the dominant conferences now in basketball. You certainly got to talk about Oklahoma, Missouri, and you've got to talk about Oklahoma State. Iowa State's very good, but don't forget Kansas, where they have that great chant, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. But I'll tell you one thing, it is ready to rock here, and the show, CJ, Chris Jackson, the best, uno number 1. Nobody better in the 70s and 80s at the backcourt position than Chris Jackson.
He's the best, and he gets to do it tonight before the home folk, and that's going to be a significant factor, too. Roy Williams says his team has got to run. On the other side of the coin, Dale Brown says his team can run, but Williams flat out says my team can run faster. We'll be back to get started right after this. With Dick Vitale, we are back at the Assembly Center here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's take a look at the game notes in this one between Kansas and LSU. Both teams, of course, have won their first game in this Dodge NIT. Look at this last year. Kansas against SEC opponents, not too well. They were 5 out of 25, but they scored a school record 89 points. LSU, on the other hand, they play well at home. Let's meet these teams now with the PA announcer, Dan Bornay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Dan Bornay. On behalf of Louisiana State University and the LSU Athletic Department, welcome to the Pete Maravich Assembly Center for tonight's second round action of the Dodge National Invitational Tournament. Tonight's winner goes to New York's Madison Square Garden for the Final Four of the Dodge NIT. This evening's game is between one of the outstanding teams of the Big 8 Conference, the Jayhawks of the University of Kansas, and one of the outstanding teams of the Southeastern Conference, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Now, here are the starting lineups for tonight's game. At one guard for the Jayhawks, a 6'3" senior from Tulsa, Oklahoma, number 14, Kevin Pritchard. At one guard for the Tigers, a 6'1" sophomore from Gulfport, Mississippi, number 35, Chris Jackson. At the other guard for the Jayhawks, a 6'5" senior from Charleston, Illinois, number 33, Jeff Geldner. At the other guard for the Tigers, a 6'4" junior from Baton Rouge, number 34, Randy Duvall. At center for the Jayhawks, a 6'10" senior from Jyväskylä, Finland, number 44, Pekka Markkanen. At center for the Tigers, a 7'1" freshman from San Antonio, Texas, number 33, Shaquille O'Neal. At one forward for the Jayhawks, a 6'6" senior from Cincinnati, number 20, Rick Calloway. At one forward for the Tigers, a 7-foot sophomore from Hopkins, South Carolina, number 53, Stanley Roberts. At the other forward for the Jayhawks, a 6'9" junior from Inglewood, Colorado, number 42, Mark Randall. And at the other forward for the Tigers, a 6'7" junior from DeRidder, Louisiana, number 44, Wayne Sims. Ladies and gentlemen, the starting lineup for tonight's Dodge NIT.
And the two coaches in this game, there's Roy Williams. He is in his second season, as you see, at Kansas, and he had a great year considering the cards he was dealt. And on the other side, of course, the other bench, a guy that everybody knows all over America, Dale Brown. A little bit preacher, a little bit psychologist, and a lot coach. So those are the participants. It is the LSU Tigers at home in Baton Rouge against Kansas. Back to get started after this. Well, I told you these two teams run, Dick, and right away they started running. Three-point shot by Randy Duvall while we were away. Kansas with the ball for the first time.
Well, it's also the first time this year that LSU is showing a zone. They're going to a 2-3 matchup as opposed to the man-to-man they played in game one.
Something that Roy Williams said he actually hoped they would do. He figures they could shoot it from outside against that zone.
Well, I think you have to zone with the two big fellas. You got to keep them inside, O'Neal and Roberts.
Callaway for three.
He said, I learned how to shoot that from the general. He said, that's for you, Robert Montgomery Knight.
So 2 3-pointers right out of the box.
He is really dangerous if he can get in a lane like he did right there. If you allow him to get in the center of the court.
Second effort is blocked by Markkanen nicely.
Markkanen's an interesting story. He's from out of Finland.
Well, they gave Callaway the baseline that time, and he missed the shot. Duvall the rebound.
Look at the big guy run.
Ahead of the pass.
These big fellas can run up and down the floor. They're very mobile. They really love them, and they're agile.
And that is something that Williams did not count on. He felt that in the transition, his team could beat LSU down the floor.
See, I think also by playing the 2-3 matchup zone, you protect the big fellas and you keep them out of foul trouble. They got in foul trouble against Southern Mississippi.
This is Markkanen outside. That's the guy they want to have the ball. Pritchard short from three. Gets it back.
See, the other thing with the zone, it takes away the passing game from Kansas.
Randall with the basket.
Randall shot 65% last year. He really was an outstanding player, especially for early when Kansas jumped out to a 13-1 record.
Good shooting team in general, as a matter of fact. Lob pass inside, can't get the roll.
See, that's just inexperience.
Well, Dale Brown told us that it is a learning process, and these are the early years for O'Neal and for Roberts.
Well, Roberts right there comes up with really a careless play and making that foul.
Dale Brown will have to show a lot of patience, he feels, with this team.
They may be a little bit overrated out of the gate because of their youth. Ultimately, they're going to be an outstanding blue-chip basketball team. But I think if people are going to beat them, they're going to have to beat them early.
They do get the benefit after the NIT of playing at home for the next month. Pritchard into the lane, loses it. O'Neal comes away with it.
Showtime. Goodbye. Count it. Put it in the book. Put it in the book. He's explosive. They love him. Baton Rouge, a superstar.
He is a treat.
Oh, he's exciting. Here's that matchup zone defense. You try to play a man in the area of the floor. Kansas trying to get into some gaps and seams against it.
Callaway gets into the lane, about a 15-footer, can't get it. And one try is all for Kansas.
Here's where he's dangerous, one-on-one.
Lost that one, though. Here comes Callaway, 2-on-1, now 3-on-1.
Give it up. Give it up, Ricky. Give it up.
The trailer is marking it.
That's a perfect way of running a transition, 2-on-1. Bring the defensive player to you, drop the bounce pass. Hey, Peckham marking him is a surprise. When they looked at a tape of him, they didn't anticipate him being as good as he was when they saw him in person.
Roberts, the little turnaround.
He's a skilled offensive player, has a lot of deficiencies yet defensively. Look at that size inside, over 570 pounds between O'Neal and Roberts. And 14 feet in size. You can't teach that, Barry.
I suppose Dave Archer's watching this with interest. Three-pointer that time by Gilder.
Gellner's one of those real role players. He really was a spark to Larry Brown's team. They struggled early. Larry inserted him in the lineup the year they won the national championship, and he was a steady player.
Jackson again, no problem.
It's an NC, no contest. But not only a no contest here, nobody could check him one-on-one, Barry.
Gellner went down hard, might have turned an ankle and trots it off. We've got a timeout, 15:59 remaining in a half. Tigers by 1. LSU by 1. They lead it 11-10. Seesaw game, really a game that doesn't have any particular tempo so far. Neither team really able to completely establish control. But there is no question that Chris Jackson is the guy that runs the Tigers.
Barry, one-on-one in the open court like we see right here. He is explosive, and he has that great control of his dribble. He utilizes the stutter step to dribble and freeze the defender. He has great change of direction.
And as you can see, 62% for LSU. Not too bad for Kansas City, 57%. First substitute of the game is Maddox has come on now for the Jayhawks.
Maddox had a big game against UAB, scored 21 coming off the bench. He, again, is an excellent shooter and a good transition player.
Markkanen sits underneath the Randall. Travel.
Yeah, that was because of the anticipation of the 7-footer. So he anticipated the shot block, and he picked up the extra pivot foot. See, Jackson is really dangerous, Barry. If he can get into the center of the court, because you don't have a true help. I don't know how you stop that.
I don't think you do. He pulls up and knocks it down.
And he loves to practice. He has great work ethic. He sits in the gym by himself constantly and just works and works on his shot.
7 for Jackson.
Now, see, here's where Kansas, I think, will get some good shots and get some fouls called on their big people. They've rotated into a man-to-man now, LSU. That's a look at O'Neal from out of Cole High School in San Antonio, where they were 68-1. His last year, they didn't lose a basketball game, and he was just absolutely sensational. I don't know how else you could put it. He was just dynamite.
He may be the first of a long line of O'Neals. Pritchard got too far underneath and still made it go.
Oh, an unbelievable move by Kevin Pritchard. Great balance. Just a tough, hard-nosed player. There's another player in the Big 8 just like him by the name of Steve Henson from out of Iowa State.
And again, Singleton got to the basket, but traveled before he got there.
Chris trying to be a little unselfish, getting some other people involved. Goes to his Mississippi sidekick, Singleton. Hey, the state of Mississippi has produced some great, great players. There's another good one down in Georgia, Laterio Green. See, here's the man-to-man. Right now, I believe that's the toughest adjustment O'Neal will have to make. Learning how to play post defense, beat cutters to the ball. He's susceptible to getting called for a foul.
Randall up top. He can shoot it from out there. 4 of 6 in the university games. All alone underneath is Callaway. Credit Gilder with a pass.
That's what I talked about a little bit earlier. I think they're susceptible to some cuts, little moves inside for layups with the man-to-man defense. I think they'll be a better matchup zone defensive team early.
Duvall a little bit short with a jumper, but they'll get a second try. Shaquille O'Neal.
I'm for real, O'Neal.
A horse.
Great hands right there. See, right now, see, he's fouled. He bumped him.
He got in early foul trouble, we should point out, in the last game against Southern Mississippi.
Well, because he still has to learn on a collegiate level how to play post defense. Remember, this is his second game, as we were talking to Dale Brown earlier tonight. Prior to the game, he really felt the same way. That's going to be a big adjustment for his young people. Because remember this, in high school, they just simply stood in the lane and just swatted everything away.
Pass handed away this time by Vernell Singleton. All the way to the basket, has himself picked clean, but Pritchard also got a piece of Vernell.
Hey, Vernell, you better learn.
In front of you was a guy named Jackson. He's like the greatest ever. Get him to run, baby. Riddell says, no, Chris, you get enough publicity. I'm going to take it to the goal.
With mild success, and Singleton will go to the line. Incidentally, Maurice Williamson, number 10, also on for Dale Brown, the LSU Tigers. They will play 9 players tonight, and Williamson can shoot it.
Singleton really had a good year last year. As you look at his numbers, he got a chance to play inside, a lot of experience. He played the post position because they were very limited in personnel.
Substitutions for Kansas. Freeman West comes on, and so too does Adonis Jordan, and he is another pretty good-looking prospect, I think.
Well, he was rated in the top 50 in the nation, and he's a good little ball handler. He's a true point guard, where Pritchard's really like what I call a 1.5. He can play the point or the second guard position.
Roy Williams said that Jordan has been very nervous in the early season games, but he did seem to settle down with the win over UAB, and we'll see what tonight brings for him.
That was a very impressive win because Gene Bartow's got some real good players.
Yeah, in fact, Bartow said, underneath again, I'll finish that story in a moment, Gilner has it swatted away by Williamson, and here come the Tigers. O'Neal underneath.
Oh, baby! Get ready! That's the arrival of Akeem the Dream Olajuwon in an LSU uniform. Shaquille and for real O'Neal.
And Randall at the other end responds.
Mark Randall says, I don't do it with any flash, but I get it done also as he hits the open jumper.
Kansas in general doesn't really get it done with any flash, but they get it done.
Not an easy task coming up here to play in LSU.
That's what I started to say as Jackson takes another jumper and nails it. Gene Bartow said if that team is going to finish 5th in the Big 8 is a hell of a conference.
Well, it is a heck of a conference. Really, they have some solid basketball teams. Jackson, we could go on all night. Solid gold, PT Pier, Rolls Roycer, you name it.
Haven't missed yet tonight. And the foul is going to go offense.
The only rule change this year will be really basically any significance. There's some minor rule changes, but all technicals will be 2-shot fouls. But this year, point of emphasis, and right there might have been one as we look at Roy Williams, they're really going to emphasize playing in the post, number 1, illegal screening, trying to watch screening, and the intentional foul. Really staying on top of the intentional foul late in the game as we look at early turnovers. Kansas with 4, LSU with 2.
Dale by 5 as a result of that. Back to the original starting lineup now for Dale Brown as Sims comes back, and so does Duval, and Jackson nails another 3.
He's a scoring machine. He's absolutely a scoring machine.
Well, he has literally been perfect tonight. Now they say it was 2.
Yeah, I think his foot was on the line, but I think it was an excellent call.
So take a point away. We'll take another look, see what you think.
I thought his foot was on the line. There's the reverse pass. He steps up. Yeah, he's in the 2-point area. Good call by the official.
Jackson with 11, 23-16 Tigers.
Excellent coaching move by Dale Brown to come out of the man-to-man and rotate back into that matchup zone defense. Kansas has an excellent offensive set against the man-to-man.
That's West underneath. You saw him just try to float the ball up over to O'Neal. He makes you change your shots. The Tiger got beamed that time.
Can you imagine what he must have been like in high school, leading his high school team to 36 and zip? It might have been frightening watching him play.
They were 68-1 in his 3 years there. That's not too bad.
See, ultimately, Dale Brown wants his team to be a good man-to-man defensive team, because if you have good man-to-man skills defensively, you can play most defenses. I think early he's going to have to utilize the zone.
Trying to get it inside again. Maddox picks up the garbage and gets it.
Maddox with a good touch. Had 21, as we said earlier, in that opening game.
LSU will walk it up after a basket, as they did there. Pump fake that time, hit the side of the basket. That's by Jackson. First miss for Jackson.
Not really a good shot right there. He forced it, but anytime you're going to shoot the ball as often as he is, you're going to take some bad shots.
Jumper outside. Geltner nails another one for 3.
Geltner looks really good shooting the open jumper. Good, squares his body, excellent rotation. Steady player. Nothing spectacular, just steady.
He's a senior at Kansas, and he has only shot more than 5 shots in a game on 3 occasions. Really surprising, yet he scores. Into the lane, Williamson swatted away by Markkanen back in the ball game for the Jayhawks.
Williamson gives him an explosive player as well in the backcourt.
Loose ball, Jordan picks it up, turnover for the Tigers. Here come the Jayhawks. West the jump. And a foul underneath. And this is going to go against the Jayhawks.
Heck of marking him. He was a great, great story. Roy Williams got a call from a friend coaching in Finland. He said, hey, I've got a player for you. They sent the tape. They looked at the tape, and the tape was like in slow motion, so they couldn't really evaluate him. They saw him in person, and they liked what they saw.
Took a chance that it worked. We'll be back. Well, the Jayhawks being stubborn here in the first half. 11 minutes to go, and they have crept back into this one, trailing only by 2. It's 23-21, LSU leading. Let's take a look at the storyline in this game so far. Kansas shooting it pretty well. I almost feel like that's redundant. They shoot it well every time they're out. And Jackson, we thought he might be the difference in the game. He is the difference in the game. 11 points, 10 points in the paint for LSU, and I don't think there's any kind of a surprise there either. And Dick, both teams shooting it pretty well.
Yeah, they're shooting well because they're really getting high percentage shots, and that's the key to offensive efficiency.
Williamson runs a loose ball down.
Williams is an interesting story. They got a foul right there. He averaged 39 points a game in high school for Bob Salisbury, an outstanding coach at Wilberforce High School in Connecticut. And his dad was John Williamson, an unbelievable scorer who went on to the NBA after playing for Lou Do himself, Lou Henson at New Mexico State.
And he wants to be his own man. Maurice, not his real name. John is his real name, but his father's John, and Maurice says, I'm going to be Maurice. I'm going to be my own guy.
I'll tell you what, with his basketball skills and ability, he is going to be his own guy.
Underneath the marking end, hit from behind by Roberts.
Hey, Barry, tell him the story about what Roy Williams was telling us about the tape. I'm laughing here about it. It was hysterical when they got the tape from Finland.
Yeah, of course, the European tapes you can't play back on an American machine, so he sends over to his friend, the coach in Finland, gets the tape back, looks at the tape. It's in slow motion. He's got to evaluate the guy at about 1/3 speed. Now, he doesn't know how slow it is. Either these guys he's playing against are very, very slow, and he's just slow, or these guys may be a little bit quicker, and he's maybe a little bit faster. So he took a chance on him. He got him here, and he says the guy can really play the game.
He has 2 years of eligibility because he's better than 22 years of age, coming here as a foreign player. And number 2, I understand they're going to appeal to the NCAA to try and get him another year of eligibility because he served 1 year in the service.
Played for the Finnish national team, so he's used to playing international rules, and of course they're very physical in international ball. Williamson gets the loose rebound. That's off the hands of Maddox.
Williams a little nervous on the floor. You could see that he's got really a little bit of excitement to him right now, but he's a little nervous. But everyone I've talked to who knows him from out of the Connecticut area says he can play. Technical foul. I believe we got a tee.
And let's see who this is going to go against. Now here's this rule you were talking about, which is not a significant change, but nonetheless a change.
Well, right now the rule change is any foul, technical foul in the game will be a 2-shot attempt. In the past, if it was on a player, it was 1 shot. It was called on a Kansas coaching staff.
Boy, things like this can really turn a game.
Roy Williams, just an interesting guy. I really believe that ultimately when Michelangelo goes to the sideline down at Chapel Hill, he could be heir apparent to that job. Either he or another outstanding former Chapel Hill guy, Eddie Fogler at Vanderbilt.
When, the key word there.
I'll tell you, after the recruiting class he's bringing in, I think it's going to be the best in the history of North Carolina, what Dean Smith has coming in next year.
Tigers lead by 4, 10-15 remaining first half. Quarterfinals of the NIT, all the way to the basket. Williamson gives it up nicely to Sims, who can't get it.
Sims a power player.
Williamson tried the 3, it won't go, and West gets it back. So 3 tries.
Williamson was top 48 last year, had to sit out. Scored 78 points in 1 high school game. See, here's man-to-man now. They have great movement offensively. They pass, they go away, they screen. See, Roberts not coming out. He's not going to chase Beckham. I think that's smart.
Well, the other thing they do very well, Dick, apparently, is they move very well without the ball. Guys moving all over underneath.
Charging foul right there, Barry. Once you leave your feet, you're susceptible to the charge. You take a look at the charging foul right here. That's the drive along the baseline. There's defensive help. Good rotation. Good call, no doubt about it. Defensive player was in legal defensive position by starting out with both feet on the floor. Once you're in legal defensive position, you're entitled to move, and as long as you're square to the offensive player, the foul is on the offensive player.
Lob pass and a fine play underneath by Markkinen at 6'10". He gives a little away to Roberts, but that time he got a hand on the ball.
I like some of the things I've seen out of Markkinen. Now watch the ball movement and player movement. They get real good movement. I think they're coming up with an open shot right here. They have patience. They're poised on offense.
Terry Brown, he can shoot it. Got it.
That's his asset. They put him on the floor to shoot the trifecta. He was a junior college All-American, Terry Brown. They have some depth this year, Kansas. See, here's where he's unstoppable.
Got him in the air that time, though. Finally gave it up for O'Neal, who can't get it to go. Roberts, rather, not O'Neal.
One thing they're going to have to work on a lot, LSU, is a little bit more ball movement. They're going to have to make the third and fourth pass, and shots will be a lot easier, and they're going to get a lot more layups inside to their big people. But again, that comes with patience. They're such a young basketball team.
Roberts with 4 points, also has 4 boards in this game.
I really like Randall. He's coming on the floor from out of Colorado. I liked him in high school. He got in the doghouse of Larry Brown and never really got any real PT. And then when it was a coaching change, it was like really an unbelievable lift for him spirit-wise.
Yeah, in fact, Roy Williams said he was the least confident good basketball player he had ever seen.
And tell him what he used to do every day. He told us that. It was amazing.
Yeah, he said he'd walk onto the court. He said, boy, that's the way to walk on the court. You walk on the court better than any guy I've ever seen.
You see him chew gum. You say, you know what? I like the way you chew gum. To give the kid some confidence.
And all of a sudden, the kid's starting to believe in himself. He's becoming a real asset to this team. Pritchard, the jumper for 3. Too hard. Rebound Jackson.
Good night. Watch him make the play right here.
3 on 3. A little short.
Come on, Chris. Put it down if I'm going to say give you that kind of a star status.
3 on 2 the other way, and Randall to the basket.
Roy Williams said our big guys can run with anyone, and there's an example. Randall in transition. I like this Kansas team. I think they're going to cause a lot of noise in the Big 8.
Well, they won huge over UAB. They were ahead in that ball game at one point, 40-11. So the game was over. Right now, O'Neal to the basket.
That's frightening. That's scary. The way he locks inside on the boxes. Dale Brown's got himself a dandy one. Now they rotate back into the zone, changing defenses.
Brown the jumper, 3 more.
The book said he can shoot the rock, and I'll tell you what, he's not disappointing. The scouting report is right on target.
6 for Brown on 2 threes. Jackson leans into Pritchard. That was a tough shot, not a good percentage shot.
One thing about Jackson, he wants to foul right there, but the one thing about him, he'll miss 5, 6, 7 in a row, and he'll take number 8. He really has great freedom here in their offense.
Kansas by 2.
Out of the patience, poise, and ball movement that Kansas utilizes. There's one pass. Now they reverse the ball to their shooter. He shoots the J. That was after about 7 or 8 passes. Terry Brown shot the jumper. But look at the field goal percentage efficiency last year. Very interesting. But if you know Roy Williams in the passing game and his background, he came out of the background, as we look at Mark Randall, shot 65%, with Dean Smith, who, when we look at Dean Smith's clubs, always in the top in field goal percentage. Look tonight, Kansas, 63%. Roy Williams learned well from Michelangelo.
And they're on a bit of a run here, too. Jumper again for 3. A little short this time by Brown, and the rebound comes down to Roberts.
Brown played at Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. They won the National Junior College Championship.
Didn't go that time. Jackson, though, can't find a handle. Jackson's a little bit of a rough spot right at the moment. There's the pass, the pull-up jumper by Callaway won't go.
Callaway did not get a good angle right there. He should have pulled up a little sooner, and he could have utilized the glass backboard, which used to be the theory of John Wooden at UCLA. What an unbelievable record he had during his tenure. The best.
The Wizard. Nice save that time on the baseline by Maddox, and Kansas keeps the ball.
You mentioned the Wizard. UCLA is back again with that spirit that they once had.
Jim Harris going to have a very good team, not only this year, but for the next few years.
Here's the 2-3 matchup. Try and play a man in the area of the floor. They still really have to learn this because you can overload right now against that kind of setup. I simply mean you can get any overload right there. You get 3 against 2.
Brown for 2. No 3. He got it. I thought he had his foot on the line, but he didn't. And that's the biggest lead of the game so far by Kansas, 5 points.
That's his expertise. Shoot the open jumper. Roy Williams said, they don't want us in New York, Dick. They sent us out here. They want LSU, and they want Vegas.
Callaway that time, a little too aggressive, reached in on Sims.
You think they want LSU in Vegas in a possible final with Chris Jackson in the Big Apple at Madison Square Garden?
Kansas doing the same thing they did a couple of years ago in the NCAA tournament. Nobody wants them there, and they're there.
Manning and the miracles. It's so great to learn that Danny Manning is coming back.
Faster than expected.
Good move right here. Take out Jackson, go over, talk to him, give him a little rest, and bring him back on the floor. He couldn't do that last year. Last year, he did not have the personnel that he could rotate people in like he can this year, Dale Brown.
Sims at the line.
He's an unsung hero. Big, strong, power player. Look at those arms. Looks like he can help out Mike Archer's football team. Boy, what a disappointment this year. UCLA, LSU, even Clemson.
Again, kick it in, kick it out. Brown for three. There's another one. He's got four.
He's putting a shooting show on right now, Terry Brown. Somebody better get to him in that scouting report that he can flat out shoot the rock. He's a specialist.
Dale Brown will talk it over. His team trails by 6. Barry Tompkins with Dick Vitale. 35-29. The visitors from Lawrence, Kansas on top of the home team from here in Baton Rouge. 3-point shots, probably the difference in the game. 6 of 9. 4 by Brown off the bench for Kansas. 2 of 3 for LSU. And another turnover and a whistle blows. Foul's going to be called reaching in.
See, that's another good coaching move. During a timeout, Roy Williams went to a little trap. He knows that Jackson's on the sideline, so now he comes to trap Williamson, an inexperienced player who doesn't have a lot of collegiate experience. They trap and they get the turnover. Roy Williams has control of his sideline.
And Jackson quickly comes back on for Dale Brown and the Tigers.
See, that's the greatest way to keeping the crowd a little quiet, too. The Deaf Dome right now is really, really very silent because of the scoreboard. And the Jayhawks have done a great job as we look at their backcourt scoring 22-16.
And it's interesting, they're doing that backcourt scoring without Pritchard, who only has 2 points.
Now here comes the man-to-man. And every time they see a man-to-man, Kansas usually likes it, but they just nailed Kansas for an illegal screen, which is one of the points of emphasis this year that the officials have been notified to blow the whistle on a little more.
Brown, the guilty party, his second personal foul.
You know, you talk about the Southeastern Conference. For years, Kentucky has always been a dominant force. This year, Ricky Pitino, he still believes he can win, and if he can, they ought to take him right and put him in the Hall of Fame. But right now, watch out for Mississippi. I'll tell you something, Gerald Glass might be the best-kept secret in America. He is a premier kind of player.
As you look at Dale Brown, who looks on obviously with some concern right now. His team trailing by 5. Singleton will have a chance to cut it to 4.
Singleton, a very steady player, good transition player, runs exceptionally well, and is probably their best leaper.
Pritchard looks like he's spending a lot of time on the bench right now for Roy Williams, as he's got the hot hands out there, and he's staying with them.
He's playing Jordan and Brown, the 2 new guys in the backcourt. See, Kansas should like this. This is made to order for their passing game. The man-to-man, inexperienced man-to-man ability.
Crowd starting to get into this game a little bit, but one basket you have an idea what silenced them.
Watch Randall get free. Watch Randall get free. Lay a screen and then bouncing it free against O'Neal or draw a foul. Watch them set up Randall. They're going to set up Randall.
10 seconds left on the shot clock, and they'll start it all over.
They're going to set Randall up.
Jordan into the lane. Leaves it for Maddox. Swatted away that time by O'Neal.
Goaltending. Got to count the basket. Goaltending.
And they do.
They were looking for one of their big people. They didn't go to Randall, but they went to Maddox with the penetration. They were trying to set up their big people. We're going to watch the penetration off the dribble move. Now there it is. There's the little dump down. He drives, he draws, he dishes the 3D man, and there's the goaltender. Definitely got the ball coming down rather than getting it up on its upward flight.
Pritchard has now come back on for Kansas. They lead by 6, coming down toward the 5-minute mark remaining in the first half.
I'll tell you one thing about Pritchard. He's not going to back away from anyone. He is a fierce competitor.
Kansas playing with a lot of confidence right now. You can just see it in them. Nice lean in that time, but a foul first.
No, they call a walking violation. A good call, Barry. He definitely lifted his pivot foot. Ed Gatterdam with the ball. The 3 officials are from the Metro Conference. So here comes the man-to-man. This is what Roy Williams wants.
Randall on the floor to the basket. Over O'Neal, won't go. Singleton the rebound. Ahead to Singleton.
That'll get the crowd in it. Little slam jam bam. As I said earlier, Singleton can run, baby, and he can jump. See, right now they're going to make the extra pass.
Randall just got by his man.
Can't handle him in a man-to-man because they have not learned the skills yet. How to beat a guy to the ball, number one. How to play people on the post. How to front. How to anticipate. They didn't do that in the high school level. You're not going to learn that overnight playing in college.
Jackson forced that shot a little bit too, but he'll keep throwing them up, and eventually they'll start going down again. Pritchard the other way for Callaway. Three-pointer won't go. Tell you what, when O'Neal comes down, people get out of the way, don't they?
He's got that strong body, and he takes the basketball down with authority.
Duval misses. Callaway rebounds.
Duval's in junior college, supposed to be a good shooter. See, Randall can run. He just outran the big people of LSU.
That's exactly what Roy Williams said he felt his team needed to do. He felt they could beat him in transition. They're doing it. They lead by 8.
The only question mark he was concerned about, could we rebound enough to get it out in transition?
He said we need some cheap baskets, and that was one right there. Foul before the shot.
Roy Williams stepped into a situation where he was absolutely shocked when he heard about the penalties and the sanctions that were placed on Kansas, and he told us, had he known ahead of time about those sanctions, he probably would not have taken the job. But now that he's taken it and got to meet all the people and the environment that exists out in Lawrence, Kansas, he now feels it's the best situation for him.
Yeah, he loves it. And he candidly admitted he had some opportunities to go other places, and he said, no thanks, I'm going to stay right here.
Well, Kansas has such a rich basketball tradition.
Jackson makes the first. He's perfect at the line. Made his first 5 from the field, missed his next 5.
I mentioned he's from out of Mississippi. There's another great guard out of Mississippi by the name of James Robinson, who will be playing down in Alabama. Right now, I believe he's having a little problem, Robinson, in terms of eligibility.
Jumper outside that time by Jordan is no good.
See, that's not Jordan's forte. His forte is to pass the basketball, get it to shooters, not to shoot from the perimeter. Look at this. He's saying, welcome to college basketball right now, baby. That's what Jackson's saying to him. You got to check me, Jordan. This is not high school, Jordan. This is the big time.
Jackson's starting to light it up again. Three-pointer now. He has 18. Jordan, the jumper, won't go. One shot, that's all.
See, that's not Jordan's forte, to come down and try to shoot the ball. He's trying to match Jackson, and that's a no contest. That's like Michelle Pfeiffer against Roseanne in a beauty contest with a bikini on.
West comes away with a rebound for the Jayhawks.
You like that one, huh?
I do like that.
I know. You like Michelle Pfeiffer. See, right now, I would run and use a lot of that block to try and quiet this crowd.
Gelner lobs from Markkinen. And a foul called. It was a late foul.
Right now, I could see what Dale Brown was talking about to us, that they're going to have a lot of problems with their post defense because of their inexperience on how to play in the post defensively.
Dale Brown again up off the bench. Coming up at halftime, we will remind you that we'll be going back to have all the scores and highlights, not only from the NIT, but a lot of college basketball action, and a feature on the junior college impact in college basketball, and it is getting more and more with every year.
Well, we're seeing that impact right here tonight with Jerry Brown. Certainly you see that with UNLV with Larry Johnson.
What a player he is.
He really tightened up on that free throw there.
He's been bageled at the free throw line, 0 for 3.
Part of that connection from out of Finland when Roy was at North Carolina. They had a guy on the bench, an all-airport player by the name of Timo Makinen, who sat on the bench. I believe that's how you pronounced his name. And I think that same connection helped him get Pepper.
Gelner knocks down another one. Gelner with 11 points in this first half. He has really contributed.
A lot of experience in their backcourt with Gelner, and you talk about Pritchard, and now you put Callaway. You're looking at 3 guys that are wearing NCAA championship rings as starters.
Jackson pulls up, takes the jumper again. He was well guarded that time, but he has such a good and quick vertical leap that he can get the shot over almost anybody.
See, also, Shaquille O'Neal and Stanley Roberts are going to have to learn how to get good offensive rebounding position, especially with the number of times that Jackson is going to shoot the basketball.
So O'Neal goes to the free throw line. First time he's been there tonight. He's got 6 points.
You talk about the great impact players coming out of the high school ranks, and certainly Shaquille was the best front court player, and now at Georgia Tech, they can't wait to unveil Kenny Anderson, who I understand has been brilliant in their preseason workouts, and they have a tremendous perimeter game with Dennis Scott and also Brian Oliver.
You and I saw him at the Olympic Festival, Anderson that is. He really caught fire after the first game. Randall a jumper. Got it.
Randall, good inside-outside player. Runs the court well. Can post on the boxes inside and can shoot the trailing jump shot. That's their 5-man in the secondary phase of their running game right there.
Randall 6 of 7 on the floor. He'll cross-court this time. Williamson gets a shoulder in and is called for it.
Yeah, that should have been an offensive foul. You get down to a situation where they're going to emphasize again this year verticality, even though that isn't an example of verticality. We take a look right here. See, he lowers the shoulder. There's no doubt about it.
1:19 left first half. Kansas by 6.
Playing really well for this early in the year. But they did that last year. Jump out 13-1 until injuries really hurt them. See, man-to-man, spread the court, 3-2 set right now. Very well coached basketball team. Good balance, good spacing.
Jordan remains in the game, getting a lot of minutes.
A good experience. He handles the ball really well. He's really a legitimate point guard. He's just not a scoring guard.
And Pritchard, who's their marquee guy, has spent a good portion of this first half on the bench.
So they invert a lot by bringing out their forwards when the big people are on the floor. They'll bring out their forwards to get O'Neal and Roberts away from the basket.
They did it that time, but that time O'Neal got a hand on West's shot.
Give it up! Give it up!
He did. Jackson.
That's perfect basketball. Excellent play, Maurice. Your daddy, John, would be proud of you. It's the way to drive the bounce pass. What electricity every time Jackson's on the floor with transition.
What a player. 20 points for Chris Jackson in the first half, and that's just routine.
He has 20 of
He has 20.
He's had really a bad half. Yep.
Williamson this time. Controls it and scores it, and drew the foul. He'll go to the line.
Look at him, getting the crowd pumped up. Going to the locker room.
They did not call a foul. I thought I saw a foul call there at the end. It is a 2-point shot right at the buzzer, though. 46-44.
That's a real big momentum builder. That's Uncle Mo, baby. Especially going into the locker room. He strips him. He's got Jackson trailing. The ball is loose. He really wanted to get it to Jackson. What an athletic play. And then the spirit and the emotion. And that's what makes college basketball so special.
2-point ball game. LSU got right back in it after trailing by 6 with just over a minute to go. Right now, let's take you back to Bristol and Chris Fowler. Chris?
Okay, thanks, fellas. So Kansas has a 2-point lead, but LSU...
In the first half, Kansas is outscoring them on the front line.
Well, Kansas outscoring them because I thought the play was excellent of Randall. I thought Randall did a great job in the first half getting free. Kansas does a tremendous job of moving the basketball, inverting their big people. Their big people are very flexible. They can play on a perimeter or they can play along the baseline.
And there's the man you spoke of, Randall. But Brown off the bench for 12 points. Kansas had 14 points off the bench to only 3 for LSU. Jackson, as you mentioned earlier, with the 20. Significantly, though, Pritchard has not really been a participant in this game. 3 early fouls, and he had to sit most of the first half. He only took 3 shots. He made 1. And he, of course, if you have to say there's a player who is Kansas's best, then it would be Pritchard.
Kevin Pritchard's a very steady player. He knows how to make the big play, to get the ball, the people on the floor. Very unselfish kind of kid.
So Roy Williams protected him in the first half with the 3 fouls. Now, of course, he will go, I suspect, most of the way. Geldner starts it right off, and he's got 13.
Well, he gets free off a little screen, a little passing game. They're carving the man-to-man defense of LSU apart. They're very experienced in the way they set screens, their ball movement, and I really believe people are going to have to be patient with this LSU team defensively.
The ball into Roberts, rejected by Markkanen.
Duval's an interesting story. Never played high school basketball. He grew up in Baton Rouge, played in the sports academy here after his high school classes, and then went out to Garden City West Junior College for Jim Terry, and that's also where Keith Smart played, who's from Baton Rouge and played for Bobby Knight.
And of course played with Rick Callaway, who has the ball right now.
Now watch Kansas get that good ball. See how they invert? See Randall out on top. Now he rolls inside. They bring the big people away from the basket.
Randall underneath, little jump hook, exactly as advertised.
Well, see, with another example, they don't know how to play post defense. They're allowed to post inside easily, the Kansas players. And here's another example of Randall getting the little layup over the bigger and stronger Shaquille O'Neal.
Roberts, the jumper, too hard off the glass. Fight for the rebound. Foul called against O'Neal.
LSU does not have any rhythm at all offensively. And again, I attribute it to that magical word, inexperience.
Second personal foul on Shaquille O'Neal.
And these fans were on my case today, Barry, before the game. They said, Dick Vitale, how could you pick him in your magazine only sixth? I said sixth. I might have picked him a little too high.
They will. There's almost no question. Williamson picks the man clean. He'll take it to the basket.
Oh, what a play. You talk about playground, baby. I can see Bob Salisbury, his high school coach, jumping out of his seat right now. Say, that's the way, Maurice. Now take a look right now. Watch them pass, go away. Now see Pritchard, he goes away. They start getting a lot of ball movement. And it's usually about the fourth or fifth pass you'll get an open shot.
Callaway, and he had to really loft that one. And on the rebound, O'Neal called for another foul.
See, in high school, Shaquille just simply had a lock up in the lane and was not challenged like he is here in terms of getting over screens. It's going to take time. He's going to be an All-American. He's going to be one of the great, great college players.
Not at all pleased about that call. I don't want to make him angry, I'll tell you that.
See, Callaway shot the ball a little too quickly in that last sequence.
This time inside, and a jump hook by Markkanen won't go, and a rebound out of bounds to LSU.
They're taking the ball right at the big fellas. They've been told by their coach, as we look at Dale Brown, he told us earlier tonight, so we have a problem right now playing defensively along our front line, but I know why, because they are young.
So much talent on this LSU team.
Kansas now playing like a matchup zone.
Jackson leans in, won't go. Second try, O'Neal.
Just athletic ability.
It was Roberts, I beg your pardon, not O'Neal.
See, right now,
Steele Duval. Jackson down the lane, but stepping in front nicely was Callaway. Here come the Jayhawks the other way. 3-on-3. Callaway.
Callaway did a good job anticipating defensively and then ran the ball up the court, took it to the center of the floor, looked right, left, no option there, shot the ball. LSU. Go ahead, I'm sorry,
That's
Mark.
all right. You were going to say the same thing as I was anyway. And the numbers say it for both of you. Duval lobs for Roberts, and from behind, Markkanen got it.
LSU's got to make the extra pass. If they would make the extra pass, they'll get better angles, and they'll get their big people free along those boxes. And then once the defense has to be aware of the big people, now the Chris Jackson show can really take over.
West comes on for Callaway. Third foul on Markkanen.
West is a swing player. He can play two positions on the floor.
Jackson, nice move to get the ball. Couldn't get the shot to go, but drew the foul.
Well, he utilized his body to protect himself and to protect the basketball and get himself fouled in the situation.
That's his first personal foul.
First personal foul, and Jackson will go to the line.
These kids, when we look here now at LSU, they really going to have some pressure because everybody with all the publicity and the notoriety, people are expecting them every time they step on the floor to blow people out. And they're not ready to blow people out.
Will Jackson have to change his game appreciably with the two big men this year?
Oh, I don't think so. I think Chris Jackson, they say the same thing with Michael Jordan. You know, they looked at Jordan, he's getting a bunch of new players. When it's all said and done, Jordan will average 30, and the same with Jackson. You know, he's just born to score, and he will score.
And here, of course, the inevitable comparison with Pete Maravich.
Well, I don't think there's any comparison at all. They're totally different players. The only comparison could be their statistics. Look at that ball movement.
Gellner tried the three. It's his first miss from that range. Pritchard runs the rebound down.
The pistol was absolutely like a ballerina. He was a show. He was so creative and so innovative and exciting, with Jackson's just an explosive, big-time, fundamentally solid goal.
Pritchard, a second basket of the game. Always balanced scoring for the Jayhawks, and they're showing that once again this evening.
You know, Pistol played basketball like my good buddy writes at Sports Illustrated. Curry Kirkpatrick with that flair. He outdid himself with that article on Dion Fine Time Sanders.
Very good piece by Curry. Jackson, meanwhile, missed, and players all over the place fighting for the rebound.
See, right now, LSU, as I said earlier, there's just no rhythm to their game. They're playing strictly on athletic ability, and that's the part that Dale Brown understands. He comprehends it, and he knows it's a matter of time. Come and see us in January, and you'll see a different basketball team.
We got a timeout on the floor with 16:09 remaining in the ball game. Kansas 54, LSU 50. In the games, Michigan, the number 3 ranked team in the country, trying to nail down the Rose Bowl. They play Minnesota. That's the first game. Virginia, surprise team in how good they are. Maryland, maybe a bit of a surprise in how not so good they are. Clemson and South Carolina, even match up in the evening game. 3 good games, and Bob Carpenter and company will get it all started at 11:30. Meanwhile, here a good game, 54-50. Jackson in the lane, finger roll.
Well, you know who you give credit for that goal? Stanley Roberts. Jackson used it as a screener. He pushed that big wide body in front of the Kansas players, and he got himself free. See, now here they spread the court. Now you watch how they'll bump. They'll absolutely bump the big guy, Roberts.
Williamson a little too aggressive that time, his 3rd foul.
See, playing against front screens, rear screens, takes a lot of communication. You must communicate with each other on the floor.
West to inbound for Kansas. Backdoor Pritchard.
They really execute so well offensively. They run all the backdoor cuts. They come off the screens, the rear screens. That's North Carolina offense.
Really a well-disciplined team, Kansas, because they're clearly out-talented in this game. No question about that.
Remember, though, it's very young talent.
Traveling. And the Jayhawks with a chance to increase their lead. Wholesale substitutions for Kansas now as Maddox comes back on, Callaway comes back on, and Brown, who lit it up in the first half, comes back on.
Now watch Pritchard right here. Going to get them into their passing game. They start out in a 1-2-2 set. Go to the wings. Pass, go away, set a screen. Look at Randall moving inside, getting good post position. Not a good pass by Pritchard. Should have used the bounce pass there.
Sims tried to save it and went out of bounds. It'll be Kansas ball.
You know, Pritchard came out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa's produced a lot of good high school players. Lee Mayberry parted a Mayday attack down there. He'll have teams screaming Mayday as we look at Roy Williams. Arkansas with Todd Day and Lee Mayberry. Wayman Tisdale's from Tulsa. So is Richard Dumas up at Oklahoma State.
Todd Day was a guy who really impressed me at the Olympic Festival.
Yeah, he was really impressive. Very versatile player. Oh, there's a foul in the backcourt.
Oh, they're going to call it against Kansas.
They called a violation.
They called 5 seconds. Yeah, there was contact out on the court between Randall and Duvall.
Now, look at Roy Williams talking about it, too. Skip Hatfield saying, I don't hear it. I don't hear what you're saying. He doesn't want to hear it. See, now you can get help with Jackson playing on a wing.
Williamson on the baseline outside, tried to force it up anyhow and couldn't. Callaway might have traveled, got away with it, and missed the shot. Williamson will take it. Won't go. 3-point try. Fight for the rebound. Knocked out of bounds by the Tigers.
See, Maurice has to learn what a good shot is. In high school, again, you can get away with those kind of situations, but you're not going to get away against a good college basketball team who will make you pay if you don't come up with the score on the other end.
Jayhawks by 4 with the ball.
That's the second pass. Watch how many passes they make in their offense.
Contact inside, and Sims this time is going to get the foul called on him.
Sims trying to get post position inside. Just knocks him to the deck.
Sims is saying, I didn't do anything, and if that were on the street, he'd serve time. Second half, Kansas continues to shoot well, and LSU has dropped way off from 50% in the first half.
Well, 27% because they're not really getting the high percentage shot.
Pritchard tried the three, couldn't get it. The rebound down nicely into the hands of Callaway, who has it rejected by Sims. Still Kansas ball.
Good defensive play by Wayne Sims. He's one of those steady players, not a guy that's spectacular. Oh, there's the screen. Use the screen well.
They call that on Williamson. That'll be his fourth. That could have gone either way. Callaway got the shoulder into him, and that's what Williamson is appealing.
No, he's demonstrating, too. He's trying to plead, demonstrate. But all it's going to do, he's got to go to the sideline. See, he bumped him. He bumped him. There's no question about it. Williamson definitely bumped Callaway. He's got 4 fouls. He's got to get him out.
Underneath, and again, knocked away by Singleton, as Callaway, though, will go to the line. Singleton got a good portion of the ball, but he got a better portion of Callaway. But it was called reaching in on Williamson. I thought it was called on Singleton, but Williamson now is fouled out as he reached in.
He should have got him out a little bit earlier. He was ready, I think, to pull him, but he gets his 5th. See, not really an intelligent play. Again, youthful, inexperienced, not really a lot of college experience as a player. There's no way with 4 fouls you reach in that situation. Not a heady play, but he'll learn from these experiences.
Well, and you've said it on numerous occasions, this is a young team. Dale Brown knows it's going to take a little bit of time for it all to come together. He did feel the number 2 ranking maybe was a little bit premature, and obviously it is.
Yeah. You know, in the regular season, the Southeastern Conference, along with the Big East, will utilize the 6-foul concept. Don't get me started on that because we can go on all day. I think number 1 about the 6-foul situation, unless it's used nationally where it is uniformity, I think it's going to hurt the Big East and hurt the SEC when they have to make the adjustment to the NCAA time of the year.
Callaway at the line now, only 1 of 4, and you can see the crowd behind him doing everything it can to distract him.
He had to sit out last year, just worked out in practice. It takes a while to get back into game sync and get at that synchronization of playing a regular basketball. He goes full court pressure. They're going to go to a trap.
First time they've tried that. Singleton gets it across the timeline to Jackson.
Well, Jackson will break the pressure. Look at Jordan playing. See, here's where he's unbelievable.
Little lean in. That's a shot he'll make. Sims the putback.
Sims with a good offensive rebounding position. Again, because of the driving ability of Jackson, defense steps out to give help. You got good inside rebounding position.
Sims, another wide body off Dale Brown's bench. Roy Williams not at all pleased with that.
See, when Jackson begins to penetrate in the middle of the lane, the back duo have to be alerted to his ability to penetrate and give help, and it frees the people along the boxes for offensive rebounds.
Sims from outside. Fight for the rebound. Singleton has it. Kicks it out to Jackson for the 3. We're tied.
I like Singleton, but I like that guy a heck of a lot better. He's awesome, baby. He's awesome.
5th tie. 13 minutes left.
And
57.
Here comes the crowd, Barry.
Reach-in foul, this time called on Duval.
See, the one thing, LSU is so explosive and so spurty that they can lay a spurt on you like 10-1 and blow it open.
Roy Williams going with a little more size now as Mackinnon comes on and West comes on. Callaway and Brown leave.
Southern Mississippi was hanging close until a spurt broke the game open. They got a great South by the name of Weatherspoon. People should get a chance to see him play.
There are so many quality underclassmen playing around the country. I don't know why, to me, it seems like an inordinate amount, like more than ever before.
Well, I think, number 1, because the athletes today in basketball are playing year-round. There are all the highly specialized basketball camps across America where these kids are playing intense basketball competition.
Bad impression, but we're not going to tolerate what we did last year.
Some debris thrown out of the stands onto the floor, and that's what prompted Dale Brown's PA announcement.
Well, they had some problems last year, especially in the introduction of players, where the fans would make believe they're reading the newspaper, and then all of a sudden throw the paper on the floor to try to change that by having alternate introductions of the teams.
Pritchard at the free throw line has been unable to get one to fall tonight.
I think he might have been mentally so keyed up in terms of defending Jackson that it's affected him offensively. And now they take another look in their trap. Instead of a diamond pressure, they go to like a 2-2-1 pressure.
And Jackson gets it across the timeline with ease. Got a man in the air, takes the jumper a little short.
He's in a great environment, Chris Jackson. I mean, Dale Brown has just turned him loose. He can take any shot he wants, any move he wants.
Randall will take that shot and buries it. And Randall just about perfect tonight. He's got 16.
I think he has a chance to be an NBA player. I really do. Because he's so versatile. He can play inside, outside. He's getting better and better.
Not a bad shooting night tonight.
8 for 9, shot 65% last year.
A little bit of a shot there on the back of the head. Checks for blood, doesn't see any, figures I'm okay. We're going to take a timeout now with 12 minutes, 8 seconds remaining. Kansas still sticks its nose in front, 61-57. Come on. Baton Rouge, Kansas 61, LSU 57. Let's take a look at some of the reasons why. Here's the storyline in this game so far. Kansas has shot the ball well the entire game. They continue to do it, 25 of 45, and the three-point shot may be the difference in the game. Jackson, well, he's Jackson, 27 points.
He got 27, and I'll tell you something. The kid was sensational against the Soviet Union team, and Alexander Gomelski said he's the best guard he has seen since coming here to the United States. And he said you could talk about all of them. He said he is in another world.
Underneath this time, O'Neal surrounded, takes the shot and makes it.
Shaquille O'Neal down in the post. They get him the basketball. Good touch, good hands. This is his weakness right now. See, he got to be called for the foul right there, O'Neal.
I think, though, they're going to call it on Jackson.
They could have nailed O'Neal down in the boxes. Again, he doesn't know how to front a post guy, has not learned how to beat a guy to the basketball. You watch his post defense, it really is very deficient. See, now watch down low inside here. Now watch 33 trying to get post position. Now here's the point of emphasis this year. See, he's trying to swing over the top. I mean, there's the contact. There's the contact, throws him. Looks as who, me?
That's right.
Did I foul?
He's got that look down. I'll tell you, he's a senior with his looks.
I mean, I'll tell you what, he hit him harder than Mike Tyson hit Spinks. That's just, again, back to that magical word we talked about, inexperience.
Speaking of that, too, that's an analogy that Dale Brown used when we talked to him earlier about his team. He said, we'd like to be like Muhammad Ali, but we're more like a 15-year-old Mike Tyson. Inexperienced, but with great skills. Markkanen controls the loose ball for Pritchard.
Markkanen's really going to give him quality minutes.
Randall underneath, jump hook, a little short, but it's going to be goaltending interference, or basket interference, I believe.
You cannot play with the ball up on the cylinder. They're going to be very frustrating to watch at times because you're going to see all of that talent, and it's raw talent, and yet they're going to make mistakes. And I think this guy understands it. I mean, he's like a psychologist. He's an absolute doctor. I call him Dr. Brown. He's absolutely a psychology major, and he'll deal with their minds.
Pritchard is left, and Jordan has come back on now for Roy Williams and the Jayhawks.
They made a change defensively right here. They're playing right now a special defense. They're playing a zone and a man-to-man on Jackson.
Duval tried the three, couldn't get it. Stepping in front for the rebound. Jordan knocked away now by Duval. Diving for the ball is Randall. And we're going to get a jump ball. Alternating possession will go to LSU.
Randall's a tough, tenacious player.
I think your point is well taken. He could be an NBA player.
Oh, I really believe that. They're taking Gellner right now. Watch number 33. Gellner, who they believe is their best defensive player. And if you don't believe it, make a call to Andy Kennedy, the shooting star of UAB. He locked them up, tucked them away, and put the key away. And right now, he's playing head-to-head on Jackson while everybody else is playing a zone. A little special gimmick defense. Gellner will chase Jackson everywhere he goes.
Sims in the lane.
Sims says, that's all right, Chris. You rest, and we'll take over.
I'll take it from here. Foul call away from the ball underneath.
I'll tell you one thing, these officials are really taking charge here tonight. They're not being intimidated, being away, being on the home court of LSU. They're calling what they see.
Kansas, of course, in a bonus situation, so Randall will go to the line.
There's a look at Dale Brown talking to Singleton. His players have such great respect for his ability to lead. You know, working the game today, Mike Jag, Ed Gatterdan, and Skip Hatfield are all from the Metro Conference.
Randall misses it off the back rim.
Free throw line is really hurting Kansas. Oh, look at that change of direction.
Jackson won't go. Singleton!
Singleton says, come on, crowd, get into it. I love his bounce off the floor.
Sixth time that we've been tied. Now it's 63.
You know, Barry, I don't think Kansas could play much better than what they have played offensively, other than maybe that free throw line. And yet here it is, it's a tie ball game, and they're away from home.
It emphasizes another point that Roy Williams made to us earlier. As the pass goes underneath to West, it is knocked out of bounds. It'll be LSU's ball. Williams said, sometimes the best team doesn't win.
Exactly. That's the nature of college basketball, emotion.
Duval for three. Rebound Sims. Foul called on Sims.
Yeah, he gave a little push.
Third personal on Sims. Jackson is in one of those runs that you spoke of earlier in the second half.
Yeah, he's 2 for 9 in the second half. Just a matter of time with him to get loose. And you know that Chris Jackson, the one special ingredient he possesses, he excels late in the game.
O'Neal really the only person in serious trouble with 4 fouls. Williamson, of course, has already fouled out of the game. Sims with 3, and then Pritchard and Markkanen with 3 for Kansas. 10-10 remaining in the ball game. Randall goes back to the free throw line. Kansas, remember, will shoot everything from here on. And he can't get that one to go.
That free throw line, that'll drive a coach bananas. Look at that change of direction, baby.
Right by him, tried to scoop, drew the foul. Offensive.
What a change of direction. I can't believe it. I've watched a lot of basketball in my time, but you watch this change right now. Between the legs once, then front change, explodes to the goal. Randall's right there. Good call. Gets the charge. What a change in direction.
Tied at 63. Pritchard back on now for the Jayhawks.
So here they go now with that passing game. Pass, go away, lay a screen. Catch the defense staring at the ball, bumping.
Singleton that time the guilty party. It'll put Geldner on the line. Singleton second.
I really believe that LSU will be a much better basketball team early playing zone defense than playing man-to-man. Greg Carson, sitting to the left of Dale Brown, is one of the brightest assistant coaches in the country, and he's had head coaching experience.
We were talking earlier. I know you're always doing your homework. You were doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning last night on an airplane with these Jayhawks, and you were saying they weren't the least bit odd.
That's another foul. No, they believe Geldner Markkanen call for the foul. They believed yesterday at the airport. I happened to meet them over in Dallas and flew on the same plane with them late last night. And I'll tell you something. They believe they can win. And that's half the battle. And why not? They got 3 players that got championship rings. Callaway, Geldner, and Pritchard.
Markkanen will leave, and he has really given Roy Williams some valuable minutes tonight. Real asset.
They think he's just going to be a real solid player and a surprise player, something they didn't expect. Now here's Geldner playing head-to-head. Oh, now they rotate back into a straight man-to-man.
Underneath it goes this time. Roberts off the glass.
See, he's a skilled offensive post player, but that was the one time they executed well by getting the good angle on the entry.
And the Tigers take the lead once more.
And the Death Dome explodes. Roy Williams is very lucky that he didn't steal that clearly and explode with a slam jam bam, this place with a rock.
Williams will take a timeout, and so will we, with 9:14 remaining in the game. The crowd will tell you what you need to know. The home team leads by 2.
LSU gets a good basket inside with the post-up ability of Stanley Roberts because they get the good 45-degree angle on the entry. And there he is, locked into the boxes, good drop step. Stanley Roberts is a skilled offensive player.
And it gave the lead to the Tigers for the first time, as you can see, since 7 minutes, 59 seconds of the first half.
You know, it's amazing, Barry. Kansas is shooting 3 for 12 on the free throw line, and yet LSU is 13 for 16, and that's the difference in this basketball game.
Significantly also, Kansas at the half, 8 of 13 from the three-point range, and they've missed the only 2 three-point tries they tried in the second half.
Terry Brown, though, has not been on the floor, and he shot that 3 in the first half. Tough basket right there by Pritchard.
Nice little spin move into the lane. Tied at 65, 7th tie.
Hey, every point Jackson's getting, he is earning today. These kids are playing them really tough. Look, Yeldon screaming at him, using his big size.
Almost had an assist there, Dick.
Singleton says, get me to rock. Will you get me to rock? I mean, Singleton said, gets a reply from Jackson, give me to rock.
Number 20, Rick Calloway, replacing
Brown leaves and Calloway comes back on for the Jayhawks.
You know, he's a spokesman for Tourette syndrome. That's what he has, a neurological disorder. Jackson, and he's done an amazing job trying to help others.
Pulled up with a quick jumper and couldn't get it to go. Second try, Duval.
They're really getting good inside offensive rebounding position. Good offensive rebound. Now watch the man-to-man offense.
Randall to the basket. Is that goaltending? Yes.
They get such good angles on their entries from the wing down to the boxes. And they spread the floor, Kansas. I'll tell you, it's like I'm watching North Carolina play. They are a duplicate of the Tar Heels, and I wonder why. 10 years on the sideline, Roy Williams with Dean Smith.
Foul called on Geldner.
I can hear him say, wait a minute now. Duplicate? A little difference. There's not a Jordan, a Perkins, a Worthy. That was the best college team I saw in the 80s. 1982 North Carolina team. And if you want an article about the 80s, the best that I have read, Larry Donnell of Basketball Times did an unbelievable article on the 1980s in basketball. Hats off to you, Larry. Tremendous job.
The skill level of the game just continues to amaze me at how much it improves. Jackson won't go. Pritchard comes out with it for Kansas.
Trying to center the ball. Now they'll get into their passing game.
Maddox. Kansas will have another chance. And Kansas has not had a lot of second chances in this game.
We have really a good basketball game. You consider this early in the year a potential trip now to the Final Four of the Dodge NIT, going to the Big Apple, and that's always special. Roy Williams going to play at Madison Square Garden. They're setting their screens.
Randall again, jump hook, little short. Rebound, Roberts. Turnaround, Duval got it.
Duval, good shooter. No high school experience. That's amazing. Played on the junior college level in Garden City, Kansas.
Tigers by 2. Randall again. Can't get it to go again.
Randall utilizing either hand, right and left hand.
Maddox reached in, and the Tigers will go to the line.
The Jayhawks are going to have a good year as you look at Roy Williams. And that Big 8 conference is going to be dynamite. Hey, the Running Rebels come up next. Please don't tell Lou Campanelli. Lou, you know you're one of my favorite paisans, but you better go home right now because this is going to be blowout city.
I hate
tell
to say
Lou
that.
I said that.
No, he's a good friend of mine too, but he's in some deep water tonight.
You know, they're playing shorthanded also. I mean, Vegas is playing without David Butler, without Moses Scurry.
And they're talking about redshirting George Ackles, another big man who was a great contributor and a starter last year. Duval at the line for the first time. And Randall rebounds. They go inside again to Maddox, who has it.
I can't keep emphasizing enough how really important it is to get the ball to the wing to initiate your offense, and then to get that good angle on the entry down to the boxes. And the inexperience of LSU to shut the boxes down inside off, they're getting layups.
9th time this game has been tied. Jackson got into the lane, leaves it for DeVal on the baseline, won't go.
Maddox with a good defensive play.
Same thing, right back. That's another goaltending call on Roberts. Said, I didn't do it, but he did.
Not really a good play by Roberts. He led his high school team to 2 state championships. Again in Carolina, suburbs of Columbia. There's the ball down inside. Now there it is. Is there any doubt?
No real secret at what Kansas's offensive philosophy is now. Get it down on the blocks to Randall, go for the jump hook. Roberts misses the shot. Singleton gets it back, got in the air, forgot to do anything with it.
See, the last 3 possessions, they've really not gotten a good shot. They're coming down a little one-on-one and not really getting enough ball movement.
So Kansas now leading by 2 with the ball.
Again, watch. They start out in a 1-2-2 set. Randall lays the screen. Now they'll swing the ball side to side, try to post Randall down in the box. There he is.
This time he kicks it out for Pritchard, who got into the lane, leans in, won't go. Rebound DeVal.
Here's where he's at his best.
2-on-1. Opportunity jumper, short. Singleton, the second try, drew the foul.
Pernell Singleton, a very active player. What a contributor.
And he's getting a little talking to from one of the officials just for slamming the ball down as he did. He could get a T called against him for that.
This year in college basketball, they're allowing a player to grasp the ring if he's in danger of hurting himself or another player. It does not have to be, as in the past, the situation where they had to grab the ring only while they were getting fouled in the attempt of making a score in them.
Maddox leaves, and Markkanen, as you saw, comes on for him, playing with 4 fouls now. Single into the line.
The great thing about basketball games like this, you get a true evaluation of your team, as opposed to the cupcake cities that some teams load up on and they play those automatics, and it just becomes a situation where you don't get a true read on how good your team really is.
Right at the moment, LSU just basically seems like 5 guys out. 4 guys and Chris Jackson anyway. But before the end of the year, Markkanen underneath. Was that goaltending? No call. Callaway tries it.
See, they're playing. Stanley Roberts is playing up there too much. I'm going to tell you, they're going to get nailed with one right there, goaltending.
I think they probably are. They're Jayhawks up off the bench.
Well, they should. I thought definitely was goaltending.
And it is. They did give him the basket.
So that's, again, just, you know, in high school, his teams are leading by 15 and 20. You can do those things. You're not going to do that here. Your team's 3 down with 5:43 on the clock.
Singleton, though, has really been instrumental in this second half. Callaway at the line. And they are just having a horrible time at the free throw line. That may be Markkanen, and it may be his 5th. I believe it is. Markkanen called for the foul, number 5.
You got to like Kevin Pritchard. He goes over, so don't worry about it. Pritchard's been around. He knows what winning is all about.
And Maddox, who had a very brief blow, comes back on for him. But he really did contribute. Those numbers very misleading, I think.
Well, he's a very aggressive player. He's active. It gives him a big body on the floor. He only played 9 minutes in the first game because he had a back injury.
So Sims goes to the line, and there's been a lid at the free throw line for the Tigers recently, too. Not this time.
Sims, that big, strong body. They lost out in the recruiting wars for a kid by the name of Melvin Simon, the premier player in the state of Louisiana. He's going to UNO, University of New Orleans. And I'll tell you something, Tim Floyd is one of the hot coaches in America with the job he's doing there. I think Simon looked at all these players and he said, where am I going to get my playing time?
A good player came out of New Orleans a couple of years ago, Liddell Eccles, playing in the NBA now. Pritchard.
Simple screen, go away, lay a screen. They're getting any open shot they want by just simply laying some screen. But Dale Brown right now is trying to teach his guys a little bit about man-to-man defense, and he's staying with it. I think he knows the zone would be more effective, but he's trying to get them to adjust and learn how to play on a man-to-man end.
Jackson missed again, 2 of 14 in the second half, and going the other way is Pritchard, who had 2 points at the half, and he's now got 12.
You look at the ball move. That's about the 4th pass, the 5th pass.
Maddox.
You pass the ball 5 and 6 times, you're ultimately going to get the good shot. And the thing I like about Kansas, they know their key players who can shoot the ball. They know option 1s and option 2s. You almost have to accept Jackson having halves where he's going to go a 2 for 14 because he's the kind of player with a lot of pressure on him defensively, and he's just going to keep shooting and shooting.
Well, there it is.
Just a matter of time, and especially late.
Jayhawks by 3, 4:10 remaining. Callaway in the lane, gives it up. Maddox.
Open shots again. Maddox, a good shooter, 21 in game 1. If you ask the players, what's the strength of Maddox? They'll say, shoot the ball. So what does Kansas do? Last 2 possessions, get the ball in the hands of the open shooter, Maddox.
Roy Williams made an interesting point about him as Jackson takes the lean-in jumper off the glass too hard. Pritchard has the rebound. Williams on Callaway said he hasn't tried to take over to the basket this time, and drawing the foul is Geldner.
They just missed. I'll tell you, wide open was Maddox in transition. LSU's big people have to rotate back a little bit quicker.
And that'll be the 5th foul on O'Neal, so another lesson to be learned for the big man.
Well, the other day, he only played about 16 minutes. He got in foul trouble as well and then fouled out.
He's with 12 points and 9 rebounds, so he definitely contributed. It's all a learning process.
That's youthfulness. I'll tell you what, every coach in America would give up anything to have that kind of youth on their team.
What a player.
And really, really have the opportunity to teach him what the game's going to be all about, because he has a lot to learn.
I think people might lose sight of what it's like, too, even for a player of the caliber of Shaquille O'Neal to come out of a high school program and all of a sudden step right into Division I and playing in the NIT. Not easy. We'll be back. The winner of this, of course, moves on to Madison Square Garden in New York City.
I'll tell you one thing. J.R. Brown is talking to his team. He told them about the mental approach earlier tonight before the game, and here were his 5. He said, number 1, enjoy and seize the moment. I'll let you take the storyline.
All right, we'll come back to that. Randall, 11 to 13. He has been a story himself. They just can't get it down from the free throw line.
3 of 13 from that free throw line. Number 1, he said, enjoy and seize the moment. Number 2, and I really like this one, don't be afraid to fail. See, that's what I love about a Chris Jackson. He's not afraid to fail. He's not afraid to make the mistake. And number 3, commitment. And number 4, do it now. And number 5, stick together and lift each other. That was his mental approach to the game with each player tonight.
I think it said, we were talking earlier, making some boxing analogies, and even Mike Tyson himself said, I'm not going to know how good I am until I lose. And I think that might apply to a basketball team, too. LSU, should they lose this game, and that is no given by any means, might learn something about themselves.
I like Stanley Roberts. I don't think they get the ball to him enough. Barry, you make an excellent point. With all the notoriety, the publicity, sometimes the heads can get a little big, and you think you're better than what you are.
Watch Kansas by 4.
You know what's interesting? Jordan on the floor late in the game. What a learning experience the freshman's getting. So now they start their passing game out of a 1-2-2 set. They'll wait to get it to the wings. There it is, the wing entry. Now screen away. Horizontal screens along the bottom. Oh, they tried to set up a backdoor cut. He got tripped.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Actually, the play would have worked, but Duval tripped it.
Yeah, he got tripped. It was an accidental trip. Certainly didn't do it on purpose. This guy's a master winner. What a job he's done here at LSU. And now they got a real leader in their athletic program to join Dale Brown, and Joe Dean. I love Joe Dean. I guess I'm prejudiced to former basketball people being leaders. Just like Dick Schultz is here tonight from the NCAA.
Yes.
Spoke to him before the game.
All-star cast here tonight in Baton Rouge.
Well, Dick Schultz, again, gives a guy. He did coach. He understands what coaches go through. And I think he's going to do an amazing job as the leader of the NCAA.
Callaway now works on Jackson. Geldner did a marvelous job on it.
They're rotating a lot of bodies on. See, they're zoning right now with Callaway playing Jackson.
Jackson this time got by Callaway, leaves it for Singleton.
See, they're zoning, except they're playing man-to-man. Man-to-man right on Jackson. Playing like a boxing one. Sims. If they would reverse the ball a little bit more from side to side, they would get Roberts all kinds of slam dunks. He has inside position.
2-point game. 2:05 remaining. A lot of contact underneath. A lot of pushing and shoving going on in there.
Could have called a foul on Roberts down there.
Pritchard in the lane. Pump fake. Second try won't go. Rebound. Randall underneath between Roberts and Duval.
See, a poor job of blocking out the LSU kids, and that was one of the assignments that Dale Brown talked about from the basketball end. He said, one, we have to learn to get back defensively, and two, we have to block out. They're not blocking out.
Keep an eye on the big men in the post.
See, Jackson's easy to defend when he's in a one-on-one situation like that, and there's all kinds of help out of the box-and-one defense, and they give all kinds of help on his drive and penetration.
Tigers turn it over. Dale Brown wants a timeout. His team trails by 4, 1:26 left. This is by 4 with the ball. What now, Dick?
Well, you look right now, Dale Brown, as he's talking to his basketball team, is trying to communicate the fact that when we get the ball back, as we look at the timeout situation, Kansas with 3, LSU with 1, they're going to really have to try to set some screens to get Jackson. Even though he's struggling, you got to go to him. But right now, they got to really come up with a good defensive stop, something they've been unable to do. On the other end of it, you look at Kansas, they go to the free throw line, it's been a nightmare. They're 3 for 13. But right now, I'll tell you one thing, Roy Williams' club is in great shape because they've been able to get the good shot every time they've had possession of the ball.
How do you figure? 57% from the floor and 26% from the line.
Well, one thing I could figure is they're getting inside layups with their offensive. Oh, not a good play and entering the ball on that.
LSU pressure in full court here.
I would not be surprised to see Kansas break a guy loose. You look at Dale Brown for a layup against the pressure.
They wait for everybody to clear out.
One-on-one situation right now. They're going to come to the trap. Now they're going to reverse the ball.
And the foul is going to be called either on Jackson or Duval.
Well, the ball's going over to the Big Apple, New York. Joey Meyer's team. And it looks like maybe Kansas, even though this game is certainly not over, and not with an explosive scorer like Jackson on the floor.
And coming up next, of course, Sports Center will let you know everything that happened, not only in college basketball, but of course everything that went on all over the land in sports. Tom East and Bill Patrick standing by to bring you right up to date. Gilder at the line. Got the roll.
He had good rotation, a lot of confidence. Stepped up, said, no problem, no worry, Coach. We just wanted to make it a little interesting for you, Coach. This is in the bank right now. We're putting this down. We're going to celebrate on the way back to Lawrence. There's Jerry Green saying, boy, we're going home with the W.
Gellner gets them both. 6-point Jayhawk lead, 1:18 remaining.
Remember, 2 possessions, and it could be a tie game with a block in this guy's hands.
Outside jumper, Sims. It won't go. Underneath Roberts, and Callaway guilty of the foul.
Roberts wanted to take that baby up and just slam that thing.
Very sad story with Dexter Manley coming out of Washington, and Tom and Bill will tell you all about that.
Number 53, Stanley Roberts.
Another sad story down in Dallas with Roy Tarpley.
Really is.
Unbelievable. When and whenever will they learn? As there's Stanley Roberts on the free throw line. I get so frustrated about that, but let's talk about basketball. Golden opportunities. There's Roberts. Nice touch. He's got good offensive skills. Oh, there's the contact. Go to the line. They're going to have to make their free throws.
Which they haven't been doing very well, but significantly they have made their last 4. Duval was the man who made the foul.
I think this Kansas team, as you look at Roy Williams, look at him, he's nice and loose, very calm. I think they're going to make life interesting for the Missouris and Oklahoma's in that league. There's no way this club, I agree. Look at the free throw line, guys. Wow.
Pritchard missed that one badly. Now, here come the Tigers, trailing by 4. Jackson for 3, air ball. Second try, however. Duval can't get it. Ball is still alive, and it'll be LSU's ball.
He really didn't need the 3 right there by Jackson. The deuce, you're going to still need another possession, 2 possessions to get even. Callaway playing him tough.
Roberts turnaround drew the foul.
Roberts again demonstrating that good offensive ability. He came out of that great high school class that featured Alonzo Mourning, Christian Leitner, Billy Owens. Roberts out of Lower Richlands High School in Hopkins, South Carolina, led him to 2 state titles.
With a very nice touch at the line, as you see, 10 points, and threw up a brick that time. See what he did to him?
Well, if he gets it down right here, a little brick city in that situation. Look at Roy Williams. He scores here. Now 1 possession with the trifecta, and you can tie this game up. That's a big miss.
And for 2 at the line, and now we got a foul the other way.
That was a major miss right there, going 0 for 2 on a free throw line. Now you're looking at 2 possessions again, Barry. Hey, great work from you. First time I've ever had the opportunity.
A lot of fun. I hope we do this again. Randall, 1 and 1.
Here's the good touch. There's some teams pick him number 1. I told you earlier, as you saw the people getting on me for picking him number 6, and I thought I was putting him a little too high there because of all their youth and their inexperience.
You know, talk about making quiet points. Randall has done just that.
26, we talked about him being a pro prospect. I mean, I've been very impressed with his ability to run. Now, here's the situation. We're going to be giving help on him. They know he's going to shoot the rock.
And gets it.
Nails it, too. Dale wants that T.O., baby. Get that T.O.
With 39 seconds left, it's a 3-point game.
See, right now, if they go to the free throw line and you get it back with a Jackson, you can look at OT, overtime. Isn't it amazing how he can be shooting so poorly? And yet, when the game is on the line, the kid makes the most unbelievable shot.
And that was one of the tougher 3-point shots he's had to take tonight, and he got it down. Let's listen in to Dale Brown.
The shot, he's going to kick it back to Randy or Wayne for a 3-point. We need a 3-pointer, okay? We're down 3, 83-86. We need a 3-pointer. We have no more timeouts. We want to foul. They're going to throw it long. Foul right away. Go, Bill.
There's one problem, Barry. He's demonstrating and designing the 3-point shot, but right now they do not have possession of the basketball. So they have to come up with the defensive stop first, and they have to get the ball back. And that's been a tough time for them. It's been either free throw line for Kansas or getting the good high percentage opportunity. So Dale pointed out to them what to do if they get the ball back, which he had to do because they had no timeouts. And in fact, that was good strategy on his part, because without any timeouts, if they get it back, he already demonstrated for them what he wants them to do. But the key is they got to get the ball back.
25 seconds.
They're spreading the court.
Pritchard is grabbed by Duvall.
Okay, now I ask you one question. The new interpretation or the point of emphasis supposed to be the intentional foul. I ask you, was he intentionally fouled? The rule says if you're playing the ball directly, then it's not an intentional foul. But if you're trying to stop the clock and you break the spirit of the rule, it is an intentional foul. I thought that was an intentional foul.
Certainly in the interpretation of the rule this year. Pritchard gets it.
Clutch, winner. Adjectives to describe a kid that knows how to stand in a winning circle where they put the gold trophy around him and cut the nets down. This kid has been there.
1 out of 2, but the first one was the important one.
It's a big one.
4-point lead, 20 seconds left.
Well, they just got to make sure.
Jackson got the man in the air, couldn't get the roll. They kick it back out to Jackson. They'll try the 3 again. Can't get it.
Without. They're going home with the W, baby.
Big, big win for them.
Oh, big win early in the season when you talk about getting your confidence, believing, and they believed last night at the airport. I was trying to tease them all. I said, we're going to see the Chris Jackson show. And they looked at me like saying, Coach, we've been there. We know what's going on. Look at how calm he is. He's going to be calm and cool and collective. And his master is watching in Chapel Hill saying, I'm proud of you, Roy. I'm proud of you, says Michelangelo.
That's a great win for a team that was picked to finish somewhere between 5th and 8th, optimistically 5th, and on the negative side 8th. And I'll tell you what,
Pritchard's getting all over me here. You see him? He coming all over me. He said, did he light us up? Did he light us up, like Kevin? Nothing like winning. I tell you, Roy, tonight we make you Leonardo da Vinci. If we got Michelangelo, Mr. Dean Smith, tonight you're Leonardo.
well, on the other side, though, you got Dale Brown, who's Picasso, and he's going to get all those lines straight pretty soon. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play that basketball team in January. I'll tell you one thing. After they get a little experience, get a little feel for one another. You know, they got 9 players. Only 4 have Division I college experience.
So the clock finally runs out on LSU, and the home team will go home. Not happy campers. 89-83. Kansas goes on to New York. For Dick Vitale, I'm Barry Tompkins saying so long. Stay tuned for SportsCenter with Tom Meese and Bill Patrick.